I have looked back to times of trial with a kind of longing, not to have them return, but to feel the strength of God as I have felt then, to feel the power of faith as I have felt it then, to hang on to God's powerful arm as I hung on to it then, and to see God at work as I saw him then, So, yeah, certainly we don't want to go through those trials again, but, and I've noticed this too before. You ever notice in your trials you cling tightly to God, like tighter onto him before, That's what this is saying, Not to have them return, but to feel the strength of God as you felt it then, Even if it was just the slightest bit, like it got you through, even if you were barely getting through. It was the strength of God getting you through whatever trial it was, To feel the power of faith, you ever notice your faith is stronger when you're going through trials, when you get knocked down. The enemy tries to knock you down a lot of times. Sometimes that's an issue too. People lose it, but if you don't lose it, you oftentimes it's stronger. It keeps you focused on God more. And don't quote me, but I sometimes think that's why God allows trials to come into our lives, by the way, because of all these things. To hang on to God's powerful arms as you hung it on them. Cling on to him harder, like bear hug. Cling on to him with like a freaking what's the word? Death grip, Just cling on to him, knowing he'll get you through, knowing he's got you, And to see God at work as you saw him then, We see God at work daily, but when you get through, you see that it's slowly ending, you see God is at work, And may I just go a step further, man, I long for the days when I was first saved, when I was so on fire for the Lord, nobody could ever put it out, Me and, I've heard the pastor I watched was talking about that too. I know many brothers and sisters have mentioned it too, It's like we almost get used to it as time goes on and, we're just not as on fire for him, But man, I long for those days too. But we need to remind ourselves, God is with us now, forevermore. We should always be on fire for him, He'll never leave us and never forsake us. And in those times of trial, we see that even more. Y'all have a blessed night. I love you guys.